Kung makikita nyo doon sa picture na pinapakita ko dito sa inyo ay may dalawang tao na nagtatalo kung ano ba yung version na nakikita nila. So, may halin tulad natin dyan ang history, okay? History is not like that because we only have one version of the truth. Nakadepende daw yan. Nakadepende yung mga nakikita natin kung paano natin siya nakikita. Pero lagi nating tatandaan na hindi ganun ang history. Laging sa history dapat totoo. That's why we need to familiarize ourselves with our lesson for today. So ano ba yung lesson natin for today? Our lesson for today is about content and contextual analysis of selected primary sources. So let's define content and contextual analysis. After doing external and internal criticism of the historical sources, and when the authenticity and credibility is already established, ngayon, ma-analyze na natin yung sources na yun. Once na malaman na natin, okay, tama yung source na yun, totoo yung source na yun, we can analyze na yung sources na yun para mas maintindihan natin kung ano yung nilalaman niyon o kung ano yung mga historical claim and position na makikita natin doon. So, content analysis. This analysis applies appropriate techniques depending on the type of source. Marami kasi tayong source. Meron tayong written, oral, and visual. So, nilalaman, we have to use our 5 senses and critical thinking. So, this analysis considers the following. Una, identify the author's thesis. Ano ba yung idea? Ano ba yung stand ng author? Bakit niya yun sinulat? Then, compare points of view, identify biases. Siguro naman hindi lang siya ang nakapagsulat ng about dun sa history na yun. So, maaaring tingnan natin yung iba't ibang information about that kind of content. And last one, evaluate the author's claim based on the evidences presented or other available evidence at that time. So, just like what I have said, we have to use our 5 senses and critical thinking. So, for example, itong sulat na itong libro na ito ay nanggaling kay Inday Sara Duterte. So, may ikinikwento ito. Malaking controversial ito. That time, nagkaroon pa ng Senate hearing. Kasi unang-una, DepEd secretary siya noon that time. So, ano ba yung purpose? Bakit ito inilabas? Diba? Maaring political ang laman nitong isang kaibigan. So, ganun dapat. Kailangan natin malaman bakit ito isinulat, anong nilalaman nito, like that. Kasi maaaring gamitin to, lalo na mga bata ang magbabasa. So, this analysis considers the following. So, the historical context of the source, time and place it was written, and the situation at that time. Baka naman kasi sinulat yun, under pressure yung nagsulat, diba? The author's background. Ano yung background niya? Baka, for example, nagsusulat siya about this certain person, kilala siya bilang basher naman talaga nung tao na yun. Next, intent. Intent to the extent discernible and authority on the subject. Ano yung intention mo? Bakit mo yan sinulat? Anong meron ka para maisulat na yan? So, ayun yung mga factors, condition, and situation. Ano yung ninanais? Pag sinabi kasi nating intent, ano yung ninanais niyang gawin? Bakit niya dino-document? And bakit nag-publish ng isang primary source? And last one, the source relevance, meaning today. Anong kahalagahan niya ngayon? So, content and contextual analysis. We have a primary source that we are going to examine. Una, for example, ito. Sa susunod nating lesson, ito yung mga example ng primary source. Una, Antonio Pigafetta's first voyage around the world with Magellan. Kasi first hand niya na na-experience and nakita yung mga nangyari during the first voyage. Kasama siya ni Magellan. Pangalawa ay Juan de Plasencias, Customs of the Tagalog. Emilio Jacinto's Kartilya ng Katipunan. The 1898 Declaration of the Philippine Independence. Political cartoon, and Corazon Aquino's speech before the US Congress. Lahat ng yan ay ako ang mag-discuss. Don't worry. Ayan. So, punta na tayo sa lesson 2.1 kasi dalawa ang goal natin na maging lesson for today. So, una, was Magellan the first to circumnavigate the world? Sige nga, try nyo ang sagutin. Si Magellan nga ba? Sige nga, i-comment nyo nga dun sa in-chat messages. So, nung elementary pa tayo, na-explain sa atin, na-explain sa atin na si Magellan daw ang unang nakaikot sa buong mundo. So European yung pinagbatayan nito. Pangalawang tanong natin ay, did Lapu-Lapu killed Magellan? Si Lapu-Lapu nga ba ang pumatay kay Magellan? Real ba yan or fake? Malalaman natin yan sa lesson natin for today. So, content and contextual analysis of selected primary sources in Philippine history. So, Antonio Pigafetta's first voyage around the world with Magellan. So, una, ito si Antonio Pigafetta. Ayan, tinatawag siyang Antonio Lumabardo o Francisco Antonio Pigafetta. So, he joined the expedition to the Spice Island led by the explorer Ferdinand Magellan under King Charles I of Spain. So he is a chronicler and kept a detailed and comprehensive journal of his journey with Ferdinand Magellan. Meron siyang journal, and he was one of the 18 of Magellan's original crew who, having completed the world's first circumnavigation around the Spain on board another vessel, the Victoria. May makikilala pa tayo dito. Si Enrique of Malacca. Si Enrique of Malacca naman, siya ay isang alipin, isa siyang Malayman who served as Ferdinand Magellan's interpreter during the first circumnavigation of the world. Kasi hindi naman alam ni Magellan yung lengguwahe na meron tayo, di ba? So, gumamit siya ng isang alipin, siya nga ay si Enrique of Malacca. Some historians believe he might have been the first person na totoong nakaikot sa buong mundo, since siya ay bumalik sa kanyang homeland after the circumnavigation, after nung expedition. Si Antonio Pigafetta naman ay Italian scholar and explorer na nag-join sa Magellan's voyage. He is best known for writing a detailed journal of the expedition, which became one of the most important historical records of the first circumnavigation. So, ayan yung journal. Ayan yung journal ni Antonio Pigafetta. Nakasulat siya sa librong ito. So, Antonio Pigafetta's Travelogue. Ayan. It is one of the most important primary sources since first-hand account siya about the Philippines before Spanish colonization. Doon sa kanyang mga sulat, dinescribe niya yung mga tao dito, yung kultura na meron tayo, yung flora, yung mga plants na meron tayo, and even the fauna o yung mga hayop na meron tayo na nakita ni Magellan during his expedition. In short, Pigafetta's note help us understand what life in the Philippines was like before the Spaniards fully colonized the island. So, si Ferdinand Magellan naman, he was a Portuguese navigator and explorer who sailed under the flags of both Portugal and Spain. So, lagi niyong tatandaan, sa Ferdinand Magellan ay hindi Espanyol. Siya ay isang Portuguese, pero sa Spanish government yung nag-sponsor ng kanyang expedition. Bakit nga ba? Hindi kasi maganda yung relationship ni Magellan at ng Portugal. Napagbintangan na binebenta kasi yung gold, pinagbebenta niya yung gold. So tuwing siya ay pumupunta sa ibang bansa, Ang gold kasi, yung standard of money na meron tayo ngayon, nagalit yung hari. So Magellan in service to Portugal joined the fight traveling to India, Malaysia, and Indonesia. However, he was accused of illegal trading, fell out with Manuel I. So si Manuel I during that time ang King of Portugal, who turned down his proposal para i-locate yung spice route. So ito si King Charles I, King of Spain. Si King Charles I naman, King of Spain naman siya. He was the grandson of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. He was the one who granted and supported Magellan na hanapin yung Spice Island. Inalapit sa hari at reyna ng Espanya ang kanyang balak na gamitin yung ruta westward to eastward. Diba? Tandaan, westward to eastward yung ginawang ruta. Portugal and Spain were involved in intense rivalry. Magkaaway ang Spain at Portugal. Sila yung magkalaban sa paghahanap ng mga bagong teritoryo. So, yun. In 1505 naman, si Magellan in service to Portugal joined the fight traveling to India, Malaysia, and Indonesia, kagaya nung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. So, eto guys, yung mapa na ginamit. Ayan. So, meron tayong tinatawag guys na Treaty of Tordesillas. So, westward, Spain lang ang pwede mag-explore. Tandaan, westward, Spain lang ang pwede mag-explore. Pag yung eastward naman, tignan nyo yung west. North, nasa taas, di ba? Tapos, nasa kanan, east. Nasa kaliwa naman ay west at nasa baba naman ay south. So dun sa bandang kaliwa, sa south, ang sa east pala, tama ba? Kanan ay Spain ang pwede lang mag-explore. So itong bandang Africa, bandang Europa. So sino yung naghati nito? Ano ba yung Treaty of Tordesillas muna? Agreement siya between Spain and Portugal na inaprubahan ng Santo Papa na dinidivide yung newly discovered land outside Europe. Yung Spain, once again, get the lands to the west, while yung Portugal get the lands to the east. So in short, it is a way for Spain and Portugal para mag-avoid yung conflict. Hinati ng Santo Papa yung mundo. Para hindi mag-away yung dalawa. And bakit nga ba nila gusto yung Spice Island? Dati kasi guys, napakahalaga ng sangkap, pampasarap. Spices were in demand, commodities among European. So moving forward, ano ba yung context? Bakit nagkaroon ng voyage? Yung Portugal and Spain were involved in an intense rivalry. Nagpapaunahan sila kung sino ang makakahanap ng Spice Island. So, ayan. During the 15th century naman, spices are the epicenter of the world economy, much like oil today. Kung gaano kahalaga ngayon ang oil, dati naman spices ang pinakamahalaga. Cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and black pepper. Spices could not be cultivated in cold and arid part of Europe. Kaya dito siya sa tropical country, mas marami. Nawala ang European. So, let's start the journey. Wag na nating patagalin. So, Antonio Pigafetta's first voyage around the world with Magellan. So, tara nang maglibot sa mundo. Ano yung So, meron guys, 5 ships. 5 ships with 270 men. Santiago, yung unang nasira. So, it was under the command of Juan Serrano. So, ayan. Tingnan nyo na lang guys yung picture na yan. San Antonio naman, dahil hindi naging madali ang lakbay nila from Atlantic Ocean to Pacific, kaya napagdesisyonan na yung barko ay bumalik na lang. Bumalik na lang sa Spain. So, si Santiago at si San Antonio ay wala na. So, may tatlo na lang na ship. Si Concepcion, si Trinidad, at si Victoria. So Magellan's fleet continued sailing from Sanlúcar de Barrameda, Spain, and crossed the Atlantic Ocean noong September 20, 1519. Mar Pacifico, Pacific Ocean today. Yung Pacific Ocean today tinatawag ng Mar Pacifico, tranquil or calm ang ibig sabihin nun. Una nilang tinahak ang Brazil papunta sa eastern route. They had no idea ano raw yung meron sa mga island na ito. Pero along the way, nagkameron ng pag-aaway sa mga ships. Kasi bakit isang Portuguese ang naglilid ng isang Spanish exploration? Kasi kung matatandaan ninyo, si Magellan ay hindi Espanyol, kundi Portuguese. Kaya yung mga nag-aalsa, pinapatay at pinapaalis sa barko. Ayan. So, 99 days sila sa Pacific Ocean. So, in Pigafetta's account, guys, their fleet reached what he called Landrones Island or the Island of Thieves. So, ito ay Guam ngayon. Guam siya ngayon sa present. So, Landrones Island is presently known as the Marianas Island, located at southeast of Japan, west-southwest of Hawaii, north of New Guinea, and east of Philippines. So, they thought na nanakawan sila ng mga tao doon, kaya gumanda sila at sinunog nila yung mga bahay ng mga natives. Pero, hindi naman talaga sila nanakawan. Nakikipagkalakalan kasi yung mga tao doon. Masyado lang talagang assuming sila Magellan. Located at south of Japan, kagaya ng sabi ko sa inyo kanina. So, ayan yung paruta. Marianas Trekking Saipan, Marianas Island, ayan. Parang paikot sila dyan. Ayan. Ayan yung Guam. Next. He recounted Pigafetta. Pag sinabi natin recounted, dinescribe. So, ito yung mismong nakasulat or sinabi ni Pigafetta. These people have no arms but use sticks, which have a fishbone at the end. They are poor but indigenous and great thieves, and for the sake of what we call these three islands, the Landrones Island. So, ayan yung sinabi niya. So, next, 10 days after, Pigafetta reported that they reached what he called the Isle of Zamal. Ngayon ay Samar. But Magellan decided to land in another uninhabited island for a greater security where they could rest for a few days. So, after 10 days mula sa Guam, sila ay pumunta or sila ay nagstay. Una nilang nakita ay Samar, kaya lang may mga nakatira doon, kaya umalis sila. So, Pigafetta recounted that 9 men came to them and showed joy and eagerness in seeing them. So, 9 daw na lalaki ang pumunta sa kanila. So, ito ay tinatawag, guys, na Homonhon Island. Ayan. Sa tulong ng kanyang alipin na si Enrique, interpreter kasi, nakikipagkaibigan siya sa mga leaders at nagbibigay ng regalo. 2 days after, in turn, the natives also gave them fish, palm wine, figs, rice, or umay, cocos, and other food supply. So, ito, guys, yung fig. Yan, kinakain yan. Ayan. So, next, sabi naman ni Pigafetta, this palm tree produces fruit named cocho, which is as the large of head or thereabouts. It first is green and 2 fingers in thickness, and they find certain threads which they make the cords for fastening their boats. Ayan. So, yung mga nanggaling daw sa palm tree, ginamit din nila sa kanilang mga barko. Ayan. So, Pigafetta characterized the people as very familiar and friendly, and willing showed them different island and the name of this island. So, Humuno Island, ayan, or Humunhon, and there they found what Pigafetta referred to as the watering place of good sign. First sign of gold in the island. They named the island Humuno or Humunhon, with the nearby island as the archipelago of St. Lazarus. Las Islas de San Lazaro o St. Lazarus Island, pinangalan yun ni Ferdinand Magellan noong 1521 when he reached the island of Homonhon in Samar. Ngayon, tinatawag na siya na Eastern Samar. Kasi pumunta sila doon ay feast day of St. Lazarus of Bethany. Kaya tinawag yun na St. Lazarus Island. So, Las Islas de Poniente or Island to the West. Ayan. So, ayan. So, unang tinawag dito sa Pilipinas, specifically the Homonhon, ay archipelago of Saint Lazarus. So, natural na hospitable ang mga Pilipino. Pigafetta recounted that they saw two balanghay or balangay, a longboat full of people in Mazava or Mazawa. The leader, who referred to as the King of Balanghay, sent his men to the ship of Magellan. So, ayan. Ayan guys, ito yung mapa. Ayan. Balikan natin. Ayan. Ayan yung mapa. So, ito yung Philippines. Hindi ko lang siya ma-zoom. Ayan. So, when the King of Balangay offered to give Magellan a bar of gold and chest of ginger, tinanggihan niya ni Magellan. So, ang ginawa ni Magellan ay pinapunta sa Enrique, yung kanyang interpreter sa king, and asked for money for the needs of his ships. Ang kailangan daw nila ay hindi bar of gold and ginger, kundi yung ships nila, dahil mahuna na yung ships nila dahil ang tagal na nga nilang nagpapalutang-lutang sa dagat. So, ayun, tinanggihan niya yon, and andun daw siya para makipagkaibigan, hindi para makipag-away. So, Magellan also boasted, niyabang niya na yung kanyang mga men ay naka-armor na hindi daw tatalab yung sword and yung daggers. So, si Magellan din assured the king his charts and maps kung paano sila nakapunta dun sa lugar na yon. So, ayan. So, Magellan was introduced to the king brother, si Rayak Kalambu, who was also king of another island. The gold was abundant that parts of the ship and of the house of the second king were made of gold. Kaya guys, hindi totoo yung Maharlika ang tawag sa Pilipinas. Kasi tayo ay wala pang Pilipinas dati. Tayo ay binubuo ng iba't ibang kaharian. Iba't ibang dinastiya or iba-iba yung namumuno sa atin. Ang tawag doon ay mga raha. So Pigafetta described this king, Raya Colombo, as the most handsome of all the men that he saw in this place. He was also adorned with silk and gold accessories like a golden dagger, which he carried with him in a wooden polished sheath. Ayan. So lagi daw tong hawak ni Raya Colombo. So, the king was named Raya Colombo, or King of Zuluan and Calagan. Ngayon ay Butuan and Caragua. The first king was Raya Siago. Ito yung kapatid. Which happened to be Easter Sunday. Magellan ordered the chaplain to preside a mass by the shore. So, once again, si Raha Siago was the ruler of the Rahanate of Calagan, Butuan, and Surigao. During the arrival of Ferdinand Magellan, nagkaroon ng nagkasundo na doon gawin ang misa. Ayan. So when the offertory of the mass came, the two kings went to kiss the cross like us, but they offered nothing, and the elevation of the body of the Lord, they were kneeling like us, and adored our Lord with joined hands. So yun yung unang nagkaroon tayo ng mass. So Magellan ordered that the cross be brought with nails and crown in a place. So cross, nail, and crown were the sign of his emperor. Ayan. So the king concurred and allowed for the cross to be planted. So this mass would go down in history as the first mass in the Philippines. And the cross would be the famed Magellan's Cross na pine-preserve natin hanggang ngayon. After nung mass, Magellan ordered the erection of a large cross on top of a hill facing the sea. So itinayo. Based on Pigafetta's account, two important event took place in Limasawa. So sa Limasawa daw, first Magellan blood compact with the island ruler, si Raha Colombo, which is the first blood compact between a Filipino and Spaniard. So, tatandaan, yung first blood compact ay kay Raha Colombo. At ang first mass natin ay sa Limasawa. Si Magellan and his men decided to move and look for island where they could acquire more supplies and provisions. They learned of the island of Ceylon, Leyte, Bohol, and Zubu, ngayon ay Cebu, and intended to go there. So, Raha Colombo offered to pilot them in going to Cebu. Cebu is the largest and richest islands Magellan's men and the King of Cebu, together with other capital men of Cebu, met in an open space. There, the King of Cebu offered a bit of his blood and demanded that Magellan do the same. So, nagkaroon uli ng blood compact. So, ito yung sinabi ni Pigafetta. The king said that he was content, and as a greater sign of affection, he sent him a little of his blood from his right arm. So our people answered that he would, but as the king wished to keep up the custom, let him begin and make a present, and then the captain would do his duty. Noong April 15, 1521, Magellan spoke to the King of Cebu, which is Raha Humabon, and encouraged him to be a good Christian by burning all of the idols and worship the cross instead. So the King of Cebu was then baptized as Christian. So ayan, so si Raha Humabon binaptismuhan, tapos yung kasi nga tayo that time ay animism, meron tayong mga sinusunod or meron tayong mga sinasamba. So yon, sabi ni Magellan, sunugin na yung mga yon, tapos ang anuhin na lang, ang sambahin na lang ay si Jesus Christ. Ayun. So Magellan spoke before the people of Cebu about peace and God. Magellan responded to this by saying that his faith entailed children to render honor and obedience to their parents. So si Magellan also prepared about their faith further, and people were reportedly nakumbinse. So si Raha Humabon pumayag na maging Catholic at mag-serve sa flag ng Spain, pero ang kapalit ay matapatan ang Raha ng Mactan na si Lapu-Lapu. So promise to deal with Lapu-Lapu and promise to make Lapu-Lapu be in the side of King of Spain. So si Magellan, inas niya si Lapu-Lapu as to be part of the conquest, pero hindi pumayag si Lapu-Lapu. So once again, so si Raha Humabon, magiging Christian lang siya at magsaserve sa flag ng Spain. Kaya lang, kailangan matapatan niya yung Raha ng Mactan na si Lapu-Lapu. So ang ginawa ni Magellan, pumayag siya, sige, gagawin namin yan, tutulungan ka namin para maging kapantay mo si Raha ng Lapu-Lapu. Pero hindi naman pumayag talaga si Raha ng Mactan, which is Lapu-Lapu. So their men were overjoyed, saying that the people wished to become Christians through their free will and not because they were forced or intimidated. So to the king and all his people answered they would obey the commands of the captain and do all lahat ng sasabihin. So ayan, so lahat ng nakatira doon, binaptismuhan. He admitted that they burned a village down for obeying neither the king nor Magellan. So 8 days after, guys, April 22, 1521, when the Queen Juana came to the mass one day, Magellan gave her an image of the infant Jesus made by Pigafetta himself. So si Raha Humabon, tandaan natin, the first Filipino na nakapag-receive ng baptism and embrace Catholicism. He was the King of Cebu during the arrival of Ferdinand. So he was baptized together with his wife, Hara Humayhay, and his 800 subjects by Father Valderrama in 1521. So ayan, so si Father Valderrama ang nagbaptismo sa kanila. His baptismal name is Carlos, in honor of the Spanish King Carlos I, and his wife as Juana naman, an honor of King Carlos' mother, Johanna. So, ayan, yung first mass. So, on April 14, Magellan presented them with 3 gifts: a bust of Christ as the Iseo Homo, an image of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and the Santo Niño as part of their baptism and strategic alliance. Once again, tatlo: Christ as the Ese Homo, image of Blessed Virgin Mary, and the Santo Niño. So Magellan insisted that they should put their faith in Jesus Christ. Ayan. So Zula's company number, ayan. Wait. Ayan, punta muna tayo. They went to 6 man and baptized him. After the baptismal, Pigafetta recorded that the man was able to speak again. He called this a miracle. Ayan, kaya talagang naniwala sila at marami pang nagpabaptismo. So, ayan. So, si Humabon, kaaway kasi ang Rahan ng Cebu. Arahan ng Mactan na si Lapu-Lapu, kaya nagpatulong bilang kapalit sa pagpapabinyag. At si Zula naman na taga Mactan din, it is to be noted that in Mactan Island, there were 2 local chieftains leading 2 different tribes. One was Dato Zula, who pledged allegiance to Magellan, while yung isa naman ay si Lapu-Lapu na nag-resist naman. Once again, yung sa Mactan, dalawa ang namamahala. Si Lapu-Lapu at si Zula. So, Magellan offered 3 boats and expressed his desire to Mactan himself to fight the said chief. So, lalabanan daw nila si Lapu-Lapu. So, Magellan forces arrived in Mactan in daylight. So, Zula's company numbered 49 in total and the islander of Mactan were estimated to number 1,500. And dito na nag-start yung laban. Once again, 49 to 60 yung Spanish soldiers against 1,500 Mactan natives. So, when we reached land, which is Mactan, we found the islanders 100, nasa 1,500 estimated. Naisip ni na Magellan na kapag sinunog nila ang mga bahay na native sa Mactan ay matatakot ang mga ito. Pero hindi. Lalong nagalit ang mga natives at inatake ang troops nila. So, habang ginagawa nila yon, tinamaan ng araw sa kanyang paa at may poison yon. Ayun. So, the Captain Magellan then divided his men in 2 bands. The musketeers and the crossbowmen fired for half an hour from a distance, but walang nangyari. Ayan. Abang ginagawa pa nila yon, napana pa sila. Ayan yung paglalarawan. So, since the bullets and arrows, though they passed through this shield made of tin wood and perhaps wounded their arms, yet did not stop them. Hindi sila nagpatalo. Tinuloy nila ang laban. So the captain shouted not to fire, but he was not listened to. Hindi siya pinakinggan. So nagtakbuhan ng tauhan ni Magellan at 15 lang ang natira para lumaban. Kaya no choice sila para tapatan yung napakaraming Filipino natives sa side ni Lapu-Lapu. Hindi basta-basta kasi sila ay mga pintados, puro tattoo and more tattoo, more expert veteran in wars. Ayan, ang tawag sa kanila ng mga pintados. So the natives, perceiving that the bodies of the enemies were protected with armors, aimed for their legs. Since puro naka-armor sila Magellan, ang ginawa nila, ang pinapana nila ay mga paa. So Magellan was pierced with a poisoned arrow in his right leg. So napana si Magellan sa right leg niya na may poison. Kaya nung nakita ng mga native na injured na si Magellan, nagsitakbuhan sila para patayin si Magellan. Pinagtulungan sila ng mga natives ng Mactan. Ayan, ito yung last moment. The Indians were thus overpowering himself several times. He turned around toward us to see if we are all in safety. So his obstinate fight had no other object than to give an opportunity for the retreat of his men. One native with a great sword delivered a blow in Magellan's left leg. So, as in, hindi na nakilala si Magellan. So, ayan, naiwan si Magellan na sa dalampasigan na napatay. The natives, perceiving the bodies of the enemies were protected with armors, kaya ang inim nila ay yung legs. Magellan whispers with a poison arrow in his right leg. Ayan ang nangyayari. So, laging tatandaan, it was not Lapu-Lapu who killed Magellan. It was not Lapu-Lapu, pero yung mga tauhan niya. Ayun. Pigafetta also said that the king of Cebu, who was baptized, could have sent help, but Magellan instructed him not to join the battle and stay in the Balangay boat so that he would see how they fought. Ayan. The king offered the people of Mactan gifts of any value and amount in exchange of Magellan's body, pero hindi pumayag si Lapu-Lapu because ikikip nila yung body ni Magellan as momento of their victory. Masyado kasing mayabang si Magellan. So, ayan. So, Magellan's men elected Duarte Barbosa as the new captain. So, hindi na si Magellan kasi nga patay na siya. Si Pigafetta also told how Magellan's slave interpreter named Henry Enrique of Malacca was a native of the Malay archipelago, betrayed them and told the king of Cebu that they intended to leave as quickly as possible. So, the two conspired and betrayed what was left of Magellan's men. So, nagtrayduran sila. So ano nga ba yung nangyari sa tauhan ni Magellan? Bumalik kay Humabon and invited them to feast, but di alam na trap kasi pinatay ang ibang kasamahan. Ayan. Pinatay yung ibang kasamahan ni Magellan. So pinatay lahat ng in-invite pwera lang kay Juan Serrano. Ayan. Ayan, Pigafetta was not be able to join the 24 men who attended because he was nursing his battle wounds. Ayan. So si Pigafetta daw hindi daw sumama kasi parang naggagamot daw siya. So napakaswerte ni Pigafetta. It was only a short time when they heard cries and lamentations. The natives had slain all the men except interpreter and Juan Serrano, who was already wounded. Serrano was presented and shouted at the men in the ship, asking them to pay ransom so he would be spared. However, they refused and would not allow anyone to go to the shore. The fleet departed and abandoned Serrano. So, umalis na talaga. So, they left Cebu and continued their journey around the world. So, Enrico was said to believe to originate from Malacca but was acquired by Magellan as slave. So, si Sebastian Elcano led the Victoria yung back to Spain to complete the circumnavigation. So, noong September 6, 1522, yung Victoria na ship ay bumalik sa Spain. Ayan. So, si Magellan nga ba ang pumunta o ang unang naka-circumnavigate? Ayun. So, imagine niyo September 6, 1522, nakabalik sa Spain ng Victoria after 3 years. So, hindi si Magellan. Posibleng si Enrique. After niya tumakas kay Raha Humabon. Once again, did Lapu-Lapu killed Magellan? Fake pa rin. Hindi. Dahil unang-una, mga tauhan niya ang nakapatay kay Magellan. Pero bakit nga ba lumibot si Magellan? Una, para mapakalat ang Christianity. Pangatlo, expansion and territory, mapalawak ang teritoryo, at of course the spices and the island. And the spices and the gold. So ano ba yung na-contribute sa present day natin? Una, contribution to geography and cartography. Ayan, mas lumawak yung mapa natin, na debunk yung flat earth theory na hindi flat ang mundo. Catholicism arrived in the Philippines, discovery and rediscovery of information, and nalaman natin yung importance of traveling. So, dyan guys, nagtatapos yung lesson natin for today. And to end our lesson, sabi ni Atticus Finch, you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. So, the history of the Philippines from 1565 to 1898 is known as the Spanish colonial period, during which the Philippine Islands were ruled as the Captaincy General of the Philippines within the Spanish East Indies. So, para maintindihan natin yung mga nangyayari sa mundo, kailangan nilalagay natin yung sarili natin sa kanila. And ganun din guys sa pag-aaral ng history. Hindi pwedeng one-sided lang tayo. So, dyan nagtatapos yung lesson natin for today.